Welcome back. And Professor Benjamin Okaba is now joining us via Zoom to talk on the recent developments in Rivers State political sphere from the Ijaw Nation's perspective. He is the president, Ijaw National Union. Good morning. How are you today?
Good morning. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well, thank you.
Okay.
So, can you tell us what is the recent happening in Rivers State? What is the update on, the political sphere or the political space in the state?
Okay, first and foremost, to correct the fact that it's President INC, that is Ijaw National Congress, not Union. Then secondly, to say that the situation in Rivers State right now is an interesting phase. One will not say that the crisis has ended. To a large extent, yes, the battle seems to be won and lost, but the war seems to be, but the war lingers. So when you talk about the recent happenings, a lot has actually happened. I wish you can be very specific to some issues, because from the announced or dramatized results of reconciliation to issues that are now open, talking about the terms of agreements reached, subject of speculation all over, to statements made by Fobara, first to his, those who who formed organizations to support him and all that. So quite a number. So I don't know if you can be specific so that I can address them, address the one in a prioritized manner.
Okay, I'm speaking of the peace, the peace deal which was brokered between Wike and Fubara and President Tinubu.
Okay, thank you very much. For us, it's still not too clear what the content of the peace deal. We saw on the television a group of persons marching out from a meeting and addressing the Nigerian press. And we had the FCT minister first saying that he has settled with his Fobra, and Fobra also saying that he is out for peace. But just like I mentioned earlier, the content of the accord of the peace accord is not known. But all the same, we as Ijaw people feel that what was actually dramatized was what we have speculated earlier, and there's a fight. The subject of the dispute between ourselves and anybody who thinks that Rivers State, or any part of the Ijaw Nation can be so captured and placed into his pocket. We have said earlier that the entire crisis in Rivers State, this particular crisis, is about state capture. So by analysis, it is obvious that if there is any settlement at all, it is settlement between the persons of the FCT and the person of the FCT leading a pact, and the governor on personal issues. Personal issues is not about the state, because the state does not belong to any of them. The state belongs to the people. So we have said earlier, which we intend to reiterate, that until the sovereignty of the state is respected, and until whoever that is has been anointed, have been elected legitimately to oversee the affairs of the state. The kind of state the kind of peace we are looking for shouldn't be a graveyard peace, but a peace that should propel development. So the whole thing seemed like a recapture of a gang member. Yes, somebody, it's possible that before Siblai became governor, he must have had some personal agreements with a group of persons who felt that, yes, we have to continue leadership, continue to hold on to the structures of the state. That you go out there and do our bidding. Maybe that kind of arrangements were put on place, and maybe it's also possible that on getting into the saddles of power, the governor now decided to toe the path that will bring rapid development to the people. So I'm sure that must have offended the people who put him there. Yes, when they saw salaries being paid, roadworks, infrastructure development moving in all parts of the state, things going differently, and the governor getting applause from everywhere. I think it was offended some persons. It's also very possible that some private sharing formulas that were agreed upon, were not followed through because the governor maybe wanted to devote more money to advancing the cost of development in the state. This must have triggered some serious disagreement. And again, in terms of appointments that were ongoing and so many other things, I think were not part of the initial agreements that were reached, that the governor was going ahead to do so many things. And I'm sure that was why the initial efforts to impeach him and saying that, no, this is not the mission we sent you for. We didn't ask you to go and be doing good for Rivers people. Our mission is to go and gather resources for us. It's very obvious from the body language and statements going and all that the 2027 election need to be funded and funded with resources from Rivers State. And if you are there, your primary responsibility is to contribute to that purse, and anything else you are doing is outside the agreement. And then the aggrieved party decided to, with a connivance with some federal authorities, garner support from across, using all the tiers of government, all the instruments of government. And at the end of the day, a state of emergency was imposed. And we all see what is going on there. The sole administrator towing the line of the FCT minister, insinuations that it was the FCT minister that even brought him there, towing the line and doing the bidding. So it is now a question of, yes, Fobra, if you are ready to come back, are you ready to continue with the earlier agreement? Earlier agreement, sharing formula in terms of appointments, etc., giving up all, and just be a governor in name. But in practice, you are not the governor. It's those who put you there must continue to have control over you and take over your structure. So yes, the hands of the governor are tied to the back, stripped of all whatever that should have made him powerful and all that. From again, when the people thought that the June 12th was an opportunity for the Mr. President to lift the suspension, and instead of doing that, he was seen in the National Assembly seeking approval for our endorsement on certain appointments. And the moment that came, with people now, majority of Nigeria, not the Ijaw people, felt that Mr. President had missed the point, and that maybe he wanted more grip to the FCT minister, and denial of more power of the sitting governor. So if you take INEC, or sorry, the RESEC, and if you take issues of appointment into those very sensitive commissions, what is left for the governor to superintend over? So these are the questions raised. So, like people made very specific comment. Like I remember, Anki Briggs asked if it was about the suspended governor and the state, why was the deputy governor not even involved in the pally?
All right, but do you see this recent peace deal between Wike and Fubara, do you see it as a sign of real change in the state, or would you say it's just, a temporary fix or a way to silence, Governor Fubara, and by extension, the Ijaw voice in government?
No, I've said it earlier, that it is a personal deal between two of them. The state is not put into consideration. All the issues raised and all that is about favoring one particular party against the other. So it's to silence Fubara. That is, you are very correct in that assertion. It's not just to silence him, it's just to also strip him, as well, not just strip him of all powers, so that he just remains governor in figure, in name. Remember also, after the peace deal, he had a meeting with some powerful movements, very popular, strong movement, and he told them clearly, look, if you are supporting me because of appointment and all that, please, there are no appointments for you. So what is politics without appointment? So, but again, the group had come out to say that, well, they did that because of very sincere respect and encouragement to the governor, who has done well, and they will continue to do it. If whether he says they should not support him, those women that have said should not pray, they said they will continue to pray for him, because praying for him as Sim is not about Sim, it's about the head of government in Rivers State. Whatever anybody wants to do, Simlaye is the governor, is the head of the political system in Rivers State. That cannot be taken by anybody. It's constitutionally provided. Whatever the scheme and the spirit of governance, is on Simlaye. It has left Wike long ago. Wike can never be governor. He has served his tenure as governor for 8 years. No matter how he masquerades, no matter he want to what, the spirit of governorship has left him long ago. It is bestowed on Fubara, and nobody except God can take it from him. So whatever anybody is doing now, it is just to question God, and to question God is very delicate. So,
all right, but is this the kind of reconciliation that the Rivers people, expected or hoped for, seeing that, the governor probably had to accept certain conditions in order to keep the peace?
It was never expected. I've said it earlier. It was never accepted. The Rivers people never accepted even the issue of what do you call it, imposition of whatever, because it's very obvious that the conditions for which emergency rule imposed in Rivers State are not as acceptable, because we have worse conditions in other places. We quoted several parts of this country that are passing through crisis, where people die on a daily basis. Even there are situations where the citizens call for the imposition of emergency rule. So please come to Benue. We are dying on a daily basis. Come and impose emergency rules so that we can take. What happened in Rivers State? All the manipulations, trying to claim that there was insecurity, this and that, and pipeline vandalized. How many pipelines have been vandalized since then? So you can see that from the beginning, all the the main objective is to capture state resources. We have said it consistently, and whatever that is happening or is going on in Rivers is tailored. It's just answering to that call for for state capture. Want to take, yes, somebody is boasting that I'm going to capture Rivers State for the soul of Rivers State for Tinubu openly. So what else are you saying? So it is not what Rivers people expected. It is not, and it is very unfortunate that we have to find ourselves in this kind of situation where we prioritize personal aggrandizement over the health, over the development of the people. So this peace deal is unacceptable. This peace deal is not done on behalf of Rivers people. It's not done on behalf of Ijaw people. Yes, nobody was consulted. Nobody was consulted. People, in fact, just look at the membership of what do you call it? Those who were involved in that. They were all members, affiliates, or friends of the FCT minister. All of them. So who are the persons on the other side? When you are going to collective bargaining, if you are going to call, you call on both sides to come with their people. Yes, if you want to settle the matter genuinely, you say, yes, FCT minister, come with your people. Come with your people. And you sit down, it's going to be plus minus. Dictate terms against somebody. Why this time, just like it was done earlier, Peter Odili was invited, many other persons were invited, and they raised issues. This time around, why did these persons not invited? At least we had people like some ex-governors who and other heads of organizations be with Fobara. So if you are going into a deal that is tailored towards bringing sustainable development or sustainable peace in a place, why did you exclude them? Why did you exclude Ankyo Bricks? Why did you exclude some of local people? So it is a one-sided deal. That is the truth. It was dramatized to show one-sided, no opposition. Fobara, come in, sit down. You have deviated from what we asked you to go and do. They must have scolded him. They must have done so many things that are not seen. At the end of the day, it came out cool. You can see even the disposition. When it came out, you can see that so much has gone out of him. Maybe he was just forced to submission and all that. That is not developed. That is not reconciliation. Rather, it is imposition of the will of those who consider themselves to be powerful.
All right, and now looking at this peace deal or reconciliation, how do you think that this would affect, or impact the political future of both Wike, Fubara, and the other lawmakers who have taken sides?
Yeah, the question, we have said earlier that whatever you do has consequences. Yes, people are looking at the democratic credentials of even the Mr. President. Yes, the Rivers issue is also being counted when they assess, when within the country and outside the country, when people begin to assess the capacity of Mr. President to deliver on the dividends of democracy. It's not about project, it's about management of personnel. But you see that Mr. President has succeeded in supervising the embarrassment of a sitting governor. Mr. President has succeeded in bringing down, in taking over, handing over Rivers State to an individual, rather than giving Rivers State, allow the people of Rivers State to dictate what goes on in that state. People are taking note of all of that. For Fobara and Wike, well, whatever they have done, there will be a payback time. That is the truth. How it's going to happen, when it will happen, in the same manner it will happen is unknown, but there will be a payback. Every step taken by all these individuals will be accounted for at the appropriate time.
All right, and now also we know that the details of this peace deal, it hasn't been made public. But what challenges do you think may arise, when it's time to implement the terms, and how would you suggest, that it be managed?
Uh, in as much as I don't know the details, I don't want to dive into speculations. But I tell you that when it comes to implementation, because the people are not involved, there will be a serious disconnect between those who had the agreement and the people. For instance, the governor had gone out to say in some gatherings that, look, I don't want any gathering in my name. Nobody should use, and spontaneously, some bodies have reacted. Yes, no problem. We are going to remove SIM. SIM is not part of our name, but we are going to work for SIM. The governor does not have the capacity to change the mind of the people. They have said, yes, we have transformed to grassroots movement for diseases, not for SIM, but not diseases for SIM. But we are going to work for the governor. We shall continue to support the governor. Nobody can change that. Even the governor himself cannot ask the people not to support him, because they have a right to either support who they have. In fact, they have a mandate to defend the support they gave to him during the elections. Nobody changes that. So if tomorrow he says, okay, all of us should join Wiki, the people will say no. So that is part of the implementation. Okay, if for instance you say that, well, this man should not come back in 2025. This man should not come back in 2027. The people will have right to say, look, no, we voted for him. It's not about himself. Even if he decides not to, come for re-election, the people might decide not to vote for the person brought by Wike. They will say this is a Wike's candidate. And since you have deprived the person we have in mind of ascending to the position, they will go to the other party and vote for another person. So there are consequences. So there's an extent to which you can coerce people. There's an extent you can push people. You can push people. Look at what is happening in the entire Nigeria. Yes, in an attempt to bring everybody under your foot. In an attempt to bring everybody under your foot, people are deflecting. People are either consciously or unconsciously, there are defections all over the place. At the end of the day, what is happening? The opposition is getting stronger and stronger. That was not what was intended anyway. It was not intended. But you can see that these are some of the unintended consequences that are happening from certain actions. And I want to believe that our political leaders and gladiators are taking note of all of this. Because in everything we do, there must be a God factor. Human beings cannot be predicted. So it's not like human beings cannot be predicted. Their behavior, their actions, and all that. What you think is motivational might be destructive to some persons.
Okay, and also, some blame the president and the FCT minister for, the roles they have played so far in this crisis, and some even say they have escalated the issue. But do you think that Governor Fubara should also take responsibility? Do you think he also has, a part in how, things unfolded between him and Mike?
You must understand the dynamics of the Nigerian political scenario before you trade blames. Yes. In the first place, how did it come? It's important. Then two, when you now have overbearance that is supported from outside, the federal might, and you know the antecedents. Now, let me tell you, if Wike was not a federal, he was not a minister, or let's say, no, not just a minister. If Wike does not have the support, full support of the president, he cannot stand for Bara. Rivers State has produced governors and ministers, and I'm sure we all saw that they did not leave their ministerial positions or conjoin ministerial positions with that of governorship. But in this case, there's tacit, full-blown support from even the first round of agreements that were reached. We all saw them and shouted that, look, Clark, Edwin Clark, and many others shouted that, look, this is bias taken too far. This is bias taken too far. It's something that Mr. President will have just called them together. Again, haven't been a governor before. And before you, somebody saying that the governor has no right to make appointments or he must retain the structures. Openly saying that the structures he had should be retained. Nobody does that. I'm sure if Mr. President was in the shoes of Simlai, he would have acted differently. He wouldn't have allowed that. After all, we also know how he was stubborn to the issues of revenue and the local government creation with Obasanjo, his own kinsman. They had a tough fight. But we also expected that with that experience, we would have protected the governor. But it allowed the governor to be dealt with here and there and all that, and said that what he's doing, state of emergency is imposed in the interest of Pobra and the governor. No, we don't accept that. If he wanted to resolve the crisis, he would have told the FCT minister his boundaries. It's about boundaries. You have told him that, look, myself, you are now FCT minister, concentrate on your FCT leadership. We now have a governor. Allow the governor to govern as a governor. That was the expectation of Nigerians from a president who has claimed over the years to be a Democrat. But that did not happen. He said they had even, in this particular instance, Mr. President and his team were not even there. Wike and his group, or the FCT minister and his followers on one side, they just brought in Pobra and had a meeting. I don't know how long it lasted, whether it was for 5 minutes or 2 minutes or what have you, or 30 minutes or 1 hour. Nobody knows. And they came out. So it was not even pretended by a bigger factor, because if you are settling parties, there must be somebody higher than the two parties that are fighting. But the two parties, you brought Wike and you brought this other man. Okay, you know that all the assembly members are on the side of the FCT. Every other person, all the party leaders for APC, for PDP, they are all on one side. Then you now isolated one person, brought him together and said, what is he going to say there? Or maybe if he had even disagreed with them or may have a fight, if any fight ensues, who is going to tell his story for him?
All right, thank you so much, Professor Benjamin Okaba. A very wonderful discourse that is. I wish we had more time to continue. But thank you for having this conversation with us. Professor Benjamin Okaba is the president, Ijaw National Congress. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, and with that, we've come to the end of today's Signature Morning. Thank you for staying with us, and thank you for starting your morning with us. I am Uchenna Chimdi Olwa, and the morning show continues in a moment. Do stay with us.